Are DVDs dead in 2024? I myself don't think so. They do still sell the new releases on DVD, on Blu-ray and 4K, so it can't be dead. But yet, many people turn their nose up at DVDs now because you have the higher resolution of the Blu-ray and the 4K, which, admittedly, do look better. But is there anything wrong with actually buying DVDs in 2024? I don't think so.
This is DVD.
Now, don't get me wrong, I do still buy 4K and I buy Blu-ray, but I don't mind buying DVDs, especially when you can get them so cheap. This pile here that I'm going to show you today, I picked up for less than £8 from different charity shops, but on the whole, I spent around £8 in total on all of these discs, and I'm going to show you what kind of films you can actually pick up for as little as 10p per disc. But here's the thing. A few years ago when Blu-ray came out and I started collecting Blu-ray, I told myself I would never again buy another DVD. Blu-ray was the way forward, and in some cases I still feel that way about certain films. If it's a film I'm passionate about, if it's a film that is known for its special effects and its visual entertainment, then Blu-ray is what I will most probably get. But when it comes to older titles, and when it comes to titles that I just want to have in my collection, my physical media collection, I don't mind buying DVDs, because then I know I have that movie. If I can't find it on Netflix, if I can't find it on Amazon Prime, I have that movie and I have it for a cheap price as well. So it's a great way to build up your collection. And like I said, there was a time when I more or less turned my back on DVD, but I've realised as I'm getting a little bit older that I don't mind watching a movie with a slightly less resolution to the picture, because the picture on DVD is just fine. Some discs can be a little bit worse than others, but 9 times out of 10, the picture quality on a DVD is more than fine for me personally, and I just enjoy the film, and I kind of forget about the quality. If the film is good enough, if you enjoy the film enough, you can just enjoy it, and you kind of forget about the image quality. That's what I found anyway. I have actually done a full video explaining why I still like DVD in 2024, which I'll put at the end of this video so you can go and watch it if you wish. And in that video I kind of just go through some of the reasons why I think it is more than acceptable to still collect DVD in this day. But this video, I'm just going to show you what I've picked up today on my hunt. Okay, so like I said, this cost me, I don't think any more than £8 in total, which is an absolute steal because I have 32 movies. I've got 32 movies here for less than £8. Okay, so the first one I picked up is District 9. This is a film I saw quite a while back. I believe it's about some kind of alien race that have come onto Earth and they look like cockroaches. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I can't actually remember much about it. I think they called them prawns, actually, so they kind of look like prawns. So that was a good one. I remember enjoying that, so I thought this would be a great one to add to the collection. I also picked up War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Now, this one you tend to always see in the charity shops over and over again, but I do like this film. I think it is quite good, and I like Tom Cruise movies, so this one will be going in the collection next to the other Tom Cruise movies. The next one is Casino, and this is a classic Scorsese film. I absolutely love this movie. I've watched it so many times. It falls in line with Goodfellas for me. It's just as good as Goodfellas. I think these two movies, this one and Goodfellas, go hand in hand, and Joe Pesci is more or less playing the same character. But it's brilliant. It's an awesome film. I also picked up The Animatrix, which came out, I think, just before Reloaded came out, and it kind of incorporates these different short stories made by different artists, different anime artists, into the lore of the Matrix. And this was a must when I saw this. I've got to add this to the collection. I need the new Matrix movie now, what came out a couple of years ago. Even though I've seen it and I think it was awful, I still need it to go with my other Matrix movies. That's kind of what I do. And this one is still in the cellophane, The Bodyguard. Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. This is a great film. Absolutely love it. I remember when this came out in the 90s. I remember we went to Blockbuster Video and we picked it up in the big, the clamshell boxes. It was quite a big movie at the time. And I do like this. It brings back a lot of nostalgia. Here we have a Jim Carrey movie. I think it's slightly underrated, this one. This is a Cable Guy, where he's playing a slightly different but funny character. He's a little bit extreme in this. He's a little bit of a psycho in this film, and I really do enjoy this film, so I was glad to see that. That'll be gladly added to the collection. This is a movie that I saw on Netflix not long ago called The Triangle. It's a bit of a time travel mind bender, and it is a really good film. I don't want to give too much away because I'll give away the plot and the surprise of the film, but this is definitely a very, very good movie, and it's made by a guy who did a movie called Creep, which I've been recommended to watch. Apparently it's a good film, and I can recommend this one as well. This one, I'm not quite sure why I picked this up. I picked up Tomb Raider starring Angelina Jolie. Back in the day when this came out, I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay, so I picked it up now. I think mainly because the offer was 10 for £1, and I was getting stuck on the 10th video I was going to pick, the 10th DVD I was going to pick out, so I think I just picked this one up. Yeah, I don't mind adding this to the collection. I like my guilty pleasures. Here's a Hugh Jackman movie that I haven't actually seen. I always meant to watch it, Real Steel, but I never actually picked it up and watched it when it came out back in the day. So I'm quite looking forward to watching this one. Next we have The Mummy Returns, and I really do like these movies. I like this and the first one. When this came out, I remember being so excited about watching it because I was a massive fan of the first. And this one was good. Not quite as good as the first one, but this one was pretty good. And yeah, I think if they'd have tried to launch the Universal Monsters universe off this one at the time, I think they would have probably done a better job than what they did when they tried to launch the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. But this is what we got at the time. They were massive films. Brendan Fraser famously ruined himself on these movies by doing all his own stunts, and it's a bit of a shame, but he is great in these movies, and it's good to have. Next we have The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and I didn't realise I picked this one up. I thought I picked up the first Mummy movie. I wasn't looking closely enough. I picked up the third one. To be honest, I would have actually picked this one up eventually, because like I said with The Matrix, I do need to have it in my collection, even if I don't think it is the best. It's not bad. Next I got Stallone and Antonio Banderas in Assassins. Don't really remember much about this movie, but I remember enjoying it when I was a kid, so I thought I'd put this on and give it a go. Juliana Moore's in it as well. I quite like her as an actress. So yeah, and I think anything with Stallone in I'm quite happy with too. Even Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. It's a bad film, but I kind of enjoy it. Schindler's List. I watched this for the first time last year, I think, and I really enjoyed it. I'd never seen it. When it came out back in the 90s, I didn't want to watch it because it was black and white. I was kind of against anything in black and white back then. I was disgusting. But yeah, it was in black and white, so I didn't really want to watch it. But I watched it recently and it absolutely blew me away. What a film this is. Awesome film. Now this is quite different, but I like it just as much. The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler. This is such a good movie. It's my first Adam Sandler movie that I ever saw, and I remember going to the cinema watching this. My sister went into another screen watching something, and I went in watching this on my own, and I absolutely loved it because I love the 80s, and this film is set around the 80s, so it was absolutely perfect for me. And I think it's probably, in my opinion, I think this is probably his best film. Some of you might not agree with me on that, but I think this is most definitely his best film. Here's another comedy, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. This is cringy, it's hilarious, and it's got heart as well. And Steve Carell is hilarious in it. And I do like this film. It's sometimes when I'm watching a comedy, I kind of watch it once and I don't really want to pick it up and watch it again for at least a few years. But I would say I watch this every single year. I laugh at it every single time, even though I know what jokes are coming. I just think it is brilliantly written and hilarious, and it's just such a good film. Okay, so I've been trying to collect as many Kevin Smith movies as I possibly can over the last couple of months, and I'm doing quite well actually. I'm collecting quite a few different ones. Today I found Jersey Girl. I've never seen this, I can't really say much about it, but I'm looking forward to watching it and putting it with the rest of the Kevin Smith movies. Next I picked up this Robert De Niro movie called Ronin, and I remember seeing this back when it first came out, and once again I can't really remember much about it other than that I thought it was very stylistic. I thought it was really well shot. I think there was a certain car chase in here which I thought was amazing, but plot wise I can't really remember much about it, so I'm looking forward to watching this. It's great when you know a film is good because you've seen it in the past and you put it on and it's like you're watching it again for the very first time, and that's exactly what this is going to be like with me. Next I picked up Serenity, and this movie is so good. It kind of ties off the Firefly series, which got cancelled after one season, which was a disgrace because that series was so good and there were so many fans who were just so upset that it didn't get a new season, so they kind of tied it off with a movie. But strangely, this movie isn't a direct continuation from the series. It's kind of its own entity, But I guess if you watch the series, you've got a little bit of an idea of what's actually going on here. But you don't need to see the series. You can watch it as a standalone film. I actually watched this for the very first time without seeing the series, and I liked it. But when I saw the series, it kind of filled in the blanks for me in my own mind. And yeah, it's a great film, but watch the series first if you're going to watch this one. Next, we have Robert De Niro and Edward Norton in the score. This is another film I've seen a while back. Can't remember much about it, but I remember I liked it. I'm kind of going through a phase at the moment where I want to watch De Niro and Pacino movies, because I watched Heat the other day and I forgot how good that film was. And it's just got me in the mood for watching De Niro, and it's got me in the mood for watching Pacino. So when I saw this, I just had to grab it. Okay, The Greatest Showman. Not normally a massive musical fan, but this one I do really like. And recently I've been watching other musicals too. I've been watching the Little Shop of Horrors, for example. I watched that the other night. Absolutely loved it. I'm thinking about doing a review on Little Shop of Horrors for this channel, because I was just blown away by it. And it was directed by a guy called Frank Oz, who did a lot of Muppet movies as well. But we're not talking about Little Shop of Horrors. Greatest Showman. Yeah, Hugh Jackman can do anything. He's really good at anything he puts his hand to, and this film is just totally amazing. And it's got so many songs in it that I know from beginning to end now. It's just a great film, and it's really well made. And yeah, I love this one. I love musicals now. Next, we have Willow. This film I have seen till it's threadbare. I love this film. One of my favourite characters in this film is Mad Morrigan. Val Kilmer plays him so well, and it's got that classic 80s fantasy theme to it as well, which I love so much, and it sparks up all that nostalgia inside me. So to find this for such a bargain price, and to actually put this in the collection, even though it's DVD, it's not Blu-ray, I don't mind. I'm just so glad to have it. Next, I picked up Insomnia, and this is another Pacino movie and Robin Williams. I've never seen this, but I've heard very good things about it, and I've wanted to watch it for quite some time now. I kind of forgot about it, so when I saw it today on the shelf, I thought, oh great, what a great buy, 10p. And it's a film that I actually want to watch. Absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I've picked this pile up, what I'm going through at the moment, for probably less than a Netflix subscription, for a premium Netflix subscription. So when you think about it, I've got quite a lot of movies here for quite a cheap price. Less than a premium Netflix subscription, and I just think that's great, and I get to keep the films afterwards. So once a movie's gone off Netflix, that's it. You can't watch it again until they decide to put it back on. But when you own it, it's yours. You've got it. It's yours to keep. Next is Three Men and a Little Baby. I remember loving this when I was a kid. I don't know what it was about it, but I used to absolutely love it. I just thought it was a really charming film, and it's excellent. It really is. And of course, there's a famous ghost in this as well. The ghost by the window, the ghost of the boy who just happens to be a cardboard cutout. But at the time, in the 80s, we didn't have the internet, and there was an urban legend going around that there was a ghost in this film. And, I think we all fell for it at the time. I still like to tell people when we're watching it, look out for the ghost. Okay, this one is called Blood, The Last Dark, and it's a manga, an anime film. And I actually picked this up because I got confused with a different film, what was also called Blood, about some kind of vampire, if I remember rightly. And I remember liking that film, so I picked this up, and now I realise I've picked up the wrong film. I'm not sure whether this is a extra film in that series, not 100% sure. It looks like it might be, but I'll give it a whirl and see whether I like it. I do like some animes more than others, so for 10p, I'm not bitter. I'm glad I picked it up. Next, we have Armageddon, and this film is fantastic. Now, normally I don't like movies if they are not scientifically correct. And this is a movie where they're going into space, they're landing on an asteroid, they're drilling, they're blowing it up, and there are so many inconsistencies with the film. There are so many scientifically inconsistencies with this film that I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but I think Neil deGrasse Tyson has pulled this film apart on many occasions, but I still like it for what it is, and I do still enjoy watching it, so I had to pick that up when I saw it. Now, the next one is called Solomon Kane, and if I remember rightly, this film absolutely bombed, but I remember seeing it when it came out, and I thought that looks interesting. I popped it on. I actually quite liked it. I like my fantasy films, and this one's definitely a dark fantasy film, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Once again, I can't really remember much about it, but I remember really liking it, so I was glad to pick this one up. Now, I love the Coen brothers, and I picked up Burn After Reading. I've seen this before as well. I remember enjoying it, so I had to pick this up, and it's a great movie to put into the collection next to your other Coen brothers films. I've got a few. I think I've got Barton Fink, Hudsucker. Is that what it's called? The Hudsucker movie as well. I've got a few others as well, but this one I don't have, so this is great to add to the collection. Next, we have another Coen brothers movie, All Brother Work for Out Though, and this movie is absolutely amazing. I love this film. I love George Clooney in it. I love the fact that the Coen brothers create their own kind of look for the movies and their own kind of feel, and this most definitely has that many other filmmakers can't really recreate, in my opinion. And it's just great getting lost into whatever world they've created for the movie, and this one is brilliant. Another film I have of those, which I didn't mention before, is No Country for Old Men. That is another fantastic film, and you just engrossed from beginning to end. And I don't know what it is about the Coen brothers, I just absolutely love their movies. Next, we have Birdman starring Michael Keaton, and I remember watching this a while back. I remember being quite torn over it, whether I liked it or whether I didn't. I was most definitely entranced with it when I was watching it. I do think it is actually a good film, and it reminded me in many ways how he was kind of typecast as Batman for so long. Although in my opinion he's been in so many other great films, you kind of always think of Michael Keaton as Batman, and I believe this is what this film was going for. He was typecast in this character that he played in the past called Birdman, and it kind of resonated with that, and it's just a great performance. There's a bit in this movie where he has to walk out into the streets of New York like in his underpants, and I believe they shot that for real with actual people like in the streets, and it's just a great scene, and he looks visibly uncomfortable. He probably was, and it's just a great film. But it's a perplexing one. It's a strange film, but I'm looking forward to putting that on once again and watching it. I think Michael Keaton is actually a very, very good actor. I watched him in a film called The Founder, where he was playing the guy who kind of stole McDonald's and stole that empire and made it his own. And I remember putting it on thinking, I'm going to find this boring. I found it absolutely fascinating, and it's because he carries the movie so well. And I recommend that movie to anyone. Next, we have The Departed, another Scorsese film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, and Mark Wahlberg. And this film is absolutely amazing. Just like Goodfellas and like Casino, it's not quite up there, but it is, near enough just as good. And it's a great film, and it's got a great story to it. And I remember there's one point in the film near the end. I'm not going to give too much away, but there's a point in it what really shocks you. It kind of takes you by surprise, because you don't expect what happens to happen. I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, it's got loads of bits like that in it, and it's just a good film, and Jack Nicholson gives such a good performance in this movie. I kind of wish he was still around to do acting up until this day, because he's given us so many like iconic movies over the years, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, As Good as It Gets, The Joker in Batman, and it's just sad to see these actors get to a certain age where they have to quit, and it's a shame that Jack Nicholson has, because he churned out so many good films, man. But this is definitely one of his best as well. So we have a movie called Hidalgo, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this bombed at the time as well. And it starred Viggo Mortensen, fresh out of Lord of the Rings. And that is one of the main reasons I picked this up at the time, because I loved him as Aragorn. He was absolutely amazing in that movie. So when this came out, I thought, awesome. It's a Western, it's got Viggo in it, it's down my street. And I loved it. It's a really, really good film, but for some reason I don't think it did too well when it came out. But I can highly recommend this film to anyone. It's a really good film. It's kind of like an adventure film about a race over the Egyptian sands. And there's a lot of danger along the way. There's a lot of things stopping him from actually getting to the end of the race. It's a great film. I absolutely love this film. I recommend it to anyone. And next I picked up this movie called Drive. It's got an actor in it called Mark Dacascos, I think his name is. I've seen this film before. I've seen this guy in other martial arts films as well. And I remember at the time when I watched it, and I'm going back to probably 1999, the year 2000, I remember thinking that this film was absolutely amazing, and he is really, really good as well. It kind of gives me Matrix vibes, even though it's not really set in a virtual reality. It kind of gives me Matrix vibes. And it actually does say on the box here that it's very similar to The Matrix and Rush Hour. That's quite a strange combination, but that's what they've gone for. And I remember it being quite a good film. And it's one of those low-budget martial art films that actually turn out to be not too bad. It's not Oscar worthy, but it is a good martial arts movie if you enjoy these kind of kung fu flicks, and I do. So yeah, like I said, this entire collection of 30 or so DVDs that I purchased cost me about £8, and I think it is just a great way to build up your physical media collection. You don't need high definition all the time. You can just simply sit down and enjoy the film. Just enjoy the film for what it is. And in the next video, I'm going to actually be showing you how I actually store these, because obviously I'm buying them in big bulks all the time. I've done a few videos in the past showing you my collections. Obviously, storage is a little bit of a problem, but I'm going to show you in the next video how I actually condense these down, and it doesn't involve putting them in files. How I actually condense these down and make more room for them. So yeah, look out for that in the next video. That won't be too long, and until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and get watching some DVDs.